That is not Los Angeles, that is Chicago, where we are seeing the same anti-ICE protest turn violent.
There's the red car that's coming in, and you'll see people trying to get out of the way, others standing in front, and others beating the car, trying to slow it down or stop it.
Okay, so as I make this video, protests are starting to form in Chicago, and we have some action in New York City as well. We'll get to all of this. Now, before we start the video, please like the video. It's the #1 way you guys can help this channel, but it also helps others see the videos as well, and people need to be informed on what's happening.
This started out as a peaceful protest at Federal Plaza around 5:30 this afternoon. Quickly, though, people began to move out and march north on State Street, down Dearborn initially. A large part of the crowd being handled by police. It was very peaceful at the time, walking north on Dearborn. Then there was a splinter faction, a split-away group, if you will, that decided to go east on Monroe while the rest of the crowd went north on Dearborn. The police officers tried to stop that splinter faction from breaking towards the lake, and that's when the mayhem started.
Now, to give you an idea of how massive this protest is, there are a lot of protesters in Chicago right now. And basically, they are forming or walking this massive loop in Chicago. And you can actually see, for the most part, protesters are compliant with the officers. You can see here, officers are standing hand in hand to make sure that the loop is being completed. But unfortunately, like a lot of these protests, you go from pretty peaceful to this. Now, one thing I do want to point out, the gear that the police officers are wearing right now in Chicago. As you can see, they are not as tactical as we're seeing in Los Angeles right now, and that really is an indicator of what was expected with these protests, to be peaceful, and unfortunately we have this clash right here, and then we have a car who just decides to drive through the protest.
Car in Chicago moving through a protest. It appeared to push a few sign holders there in the protest in Chicago before then speeding away. So unclear exactly what we were seeing there. Also, large protests underway in New York City.
Now, if you haven't already, make sure to please subscribe to my channel, because we are going to be covering events like we're seeing in LA, Chicago, New York. Now, if you haven't already, make sure to please subscribe to my channel. We are giving you updates constantly on events like this and other events throughout the United States, so please subscribe.
A red car, sort of a beat-up old sedan, pulled up very fast. A police officer ran up and hit the side of her window to try to get her to pull over. He was like literally pushing against the car, pushed her to the curb, and then she sped away and into the crowd. It was difficult to tell whether anybody was actually hit by that car, but people were jumping out of the way, fleeing.
Okay, now let's segue to New York City from Chicago. We are basically seeing the same thing, anti-ICE protests. Now, what's interesting is the mayor of New York City straight up said, we're not going to be like Los Angeles. If you act like them, you're going to get arrested.
New York City will always be a place to peacefully protest, but we will not allow violence and lawlessness. The escalation of protests in Los Angeles over the last couple of days is unacceptable and would not be tolerated if attempted in our city.
Now, I just want to show you the contrast. As I'm making this video, all of a sudden, the mayor of Los Angeles says, you know what, maybe I should put out a curfew after day 5 of destruction.
Looting. Many businesses have now been affected by or vandalized. Last night, there were 23 businesses that were looted. And I think that if you drive through downtown LA, the graffiti is everywhere and has caused significant damages to businesses and a number of properties. So my message to you is, if you do not live or work in downtown LA, avoid the area. Law enforcement will arrest individuals who break the curfew, and you will be prosecuted. Hundreds of officers from police and sheriff departments from across the region and state are working alongside LAPD through a unified command structure. The curfew will be in place tonight from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. Looting.
So I just wanted to point out, and I know people are not really fans of either mayors, you do have a distinction here. In New York City, you have an experienced law enforcement officer who's actually been rather pro-ICE. And then you have Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, who waited 5 days and said everything was fine, everything is peaceful, and now she's claiming, yeah, things are bad. If you're caught after the curfew, you're going to be arrested. Quite the difference.
Breaking just moments ago, NBC News reporting that ICE is preparing to deploy tactical units known as Special Response Teams to 5 Democratic-run cities. Those cities, Seattle, Chicago, Philadelphia, Northern Virginia, and New York. It's not clear if these raids will begin immediately, but all special response teams in those areas have been told to be ready to deploy.
Now, this is just my opinion. You can leave yours down in the comments. What this tactical unit looks like in this new announcement is a way to shift resources. If cities like Chicago and New York City, they are dealing with these protesters and ICE assets and federal assets are under attack, this is a good way to shift ICE units over to these cities. That's just my guess. You can leave your comments down below how you feel about this. Now, things seem to be the most peaceful in New York City. However, we have clips like this as well. That is why I love the New York City Police Department. The guy in charge is like, you're allowed to curse, just don't touch the barrier because you could be arrested. Now, because Los Angeles is currently popping off, I might as well give you guys an update or show you guys some of the raw footage of how chaotic it is over in Los Angeles.
Highway there, and you can see this is right now overhead. It's almost 4 p.m. there in Los Angeles. Even more of these protesters now making their way onto the highway, onto the interstate, much like they did over the weekend. So like I said, obviously this presents great dangers to not only the protesters themselves, but also the motorists who are
Protesters in Los Angeles tried to get on the freeway, but it didn't last too long. Now, one thing I do want to point out, this right here, this really goes to show how experienced the LA Police Department really is when it comes to riot control. This officer got way too ahead of the line, where he's actually now in the crowd, and the man in charge right here pulled him back. So again, I just want to point out that detail. You can actually see how experienced they are.
When you shut down the 101, you shut down, as you said, the main artery in throughout the downtown corridor. You're shutting down the businesses. You're closing. You're basically causing a lot of employers to lay off their employees. You had all the businesses that were looted overnight. And then on top of that, you have all the damage to the infrastructure. They're breaking up concrete on sidewalks to throw it at cops. And this is just appalling level of violence. And then you see these Congress people telling, oh, it's just a minor problem, don't ignore that. Or, who are you going to believe, us or your lying eyes? I mean, it is disgusting. And to think that sheriff's deputies are sitting on cots in parking lots waiting for the order to go out and do something, and they're being held back.
So unfortunately for Los Angeles, the situation is getting worse. In fact, from the mayor, she anticipates it's going to last a little while longer.
p.m. tonight and go until 6 a.m. tomorrow. I will consult with elected leaders and law enforcement officials tomorrow on the continuation of the curfew, but we certainly expect for it to last for several days. The curfew area will be between the 5 freeway and to the 110 and the 10 freeway to where the 110 freeway and 5 freeway merge. You look at the map and you can see that the city of Los Angeles is a massive area, 502 square miles. The area of downtown where the curfew will take place is 1 square mile. I think it is important to point this out, not to minimize the vandalism and violence that has taken place there. It has been significant, but it is extremely important to know that what is happening in this 1 square mile is not affecting the city.
Okay, so as I make this video, we actually have breaking news. This is how I edit and film. I am filming in time, looking at events as we go. Apparently, the bomb squad has been deployed to downtown Chicago. Check this out. Now, as I film this video, we are getting into the night hours of Chicago, and there are still people flooding downtown, and the protests look like to be, amping up a little bit. A common occurrence we keep seeing, especially in Los Angeles. This is why we have that curfew. Now, in Chicago, we don't have a curfew yet. I don't have any more information as far as this situation right here. But again, we're just going based off of patterns and opinions. I really do think this is going to amp up a little bit more now that we get into the night hours.
Get out of here! Nobody did any fucking cowards! What the fuck was that? Who are they arrested?
Okay, so that clip right there, that was Homeland Security in the early hours of Los Angeles. But I just want to point out, even from a security perspective, they are not messing around anymore. Homeland Security or local law enforcement, they are just straight up arresting a ton of people. The last report I saw, 150 arrests occurred in like 3 hours in Los Angeles when these protests started to flood over into the highway and into the early hours of Los Angeles. So again, it looks like everything is amping up over in Los Angeles as well.
We're not even seeing violent protests. I mean, honestly, to say that's an insurrection is crazy. I mean, it's just insane. I mean, what you just saw, with all due respect, were a few dozen, maybe 100 people walking down the middle of a street, engaged in protest. Maybe they were saying things that Donald Trump doesn't like. They may be saying things that I don't agree with, but it was not an insurrection. I mean, there's no threat to that these folks you're watching here are somehow toppling the U.S. government. I mean, Donald Trump is trying to manufacture out of, frankly, whole cloth, the excuse and the permission structure to do something that could be only described as authoritarian and unconstitutional, which would be to somehow claim the images people are seeing right now are not what they're seeing, but in fact that is a violent rebellion or insurrection. I mean, it is absolutely irresponsible for anyone to suggest that what you are looking at there is somehow an insurrection.
And I was just curious what MSNBC had to say, maybe some new updates. They are still holding to it is not violent and everything is good to go. Now, leave your comments down below how you feel about all of this. Make sure to subscribe for new updates and more updates. Make sure to like the video. Thank you guys for everything. God bless, and we'll see you all later.